All right, my friends. Two Google Chrome downloads later. I don't even get it. I don't even get it. I was using the new live producer thingy that I had to get used to on Facebook. And then today I had to do it. I had to download Chrome beta, which I have to tell you looks a lot like Chrome. So I have no idea what they're doing. But anyway, I think I finally made it back. So hello from a beautiful sunny Maine. It's not snowing. It was totally snowing yesterday. So that was fun. I am sorry I missed you yesterday. I was at the veterinarian's with my dog, who I'm happy to tell you does not have cancer. He's an 11-year-old German Shepherd, so really it's not out of the realm of possibility. So, and by the time I looked up and I had gotten everything squared away with my kids, I had completely missed my window for coming online. So I'm very sorry. And we missed Science Saturday, where I was going to talk about the after action. No, that's today. I was talking about peer review process, which kind of in and of itself is an after action process. So I'll cover that next Saturday. And then we were just going to talk about relationships and the belief bludgeon around relationships and how we can talk about what other people should be doing and what we should be doing, both of which are completely miserable ways to live. And so my recommendation is, if you have questions, get in touch with me or take that water, strive, and light that I have been going through and ask yourself those questions and see what you can come up with. And so this brings us into our sixth and final week. I think this is going to be my final week of doing the lunchtime lives, because my business is just taking off. It is just absolutely taking off. I'm going to have some excellent news to share with you in the very near future. However, it does require that I not organize my life around going live on Facebook. So I'm going to be able to do it I'm pretty sure for another week, but that may not be possible. And if it isn't, what I will do is I will record them and we'll put them up on the YouTube channel so that we can, so that you can still watch, so that I still get you the information, that it's all there, and that you can find it, and do the coaching yourself and just iterate it. Like, this is what I do. Like, these are 6 weeks, right? And you can, if you do all the work that we just did and you start, if you want to work on your weight, just go back and re-listen to all the Monday stuff. Okay. If you want to work on drinking or your social media or porn or all the other things that you might be addicted to, look at Tuesdays. If you want to talk about work, look at Wednesdays. Incoming money, look at Thursdays. Outgoing money, look at Fridays. And of course, relationships are on Saturdays. And then on Sunday, we kind of have a broad overview of the topic. And so I think it's going to be very valuable. I am probably going to compile these into a workbook. So look for that. It's got to get, written and edited and all that good sort of stuff. But we're totally going to work on that. So that's what we have for that. And then that brings us to what we're talking about today, okay, which is the very last part of the process. So the process, just to, reiterate, interestingly enough, because we're talking about iterative change today, but we tell ourselves the truth and we look at all of our thoughts around the truth. Then we look at our feelings and we develop the capacity to have our feelings, and then and feel all of our feelings. And then in the third week, we looked at the capacity to have what we have in the world, okay, and so that was second week. So feelings and the capacity to have what we had in the world. In week 3, we talked about how to want what we want. Okay, I have actually, interestingly enough, I have spent a lot of this week trying to figure out what I want and what my intentions are, and it's been a very interesting conversation. Week 4, we talked about how to make a change and declare our results, and really what are the results I'm trying to create in the world. And then in week 5, so last week, dealing with discomfort and the belief bludgeon. And we talk a lot about how we try and believe ourselves into a new reality without actually recognizing the resistance to our own negative feelings, resistance in general, and how we try and use our processes to beat ourselves up. And then finally, this week, we're talking about the after action process and how we do iterative change. So I was introduced to AARs, as we call them, the after action process, in a very formal way in the Army. So in the Army, we do AARs for like everything. Like I would have a clinic and we'd AAR it. And I would, I had to do AARs on like everything, it seemed. And it's an incredibly helpful discipline. It's an incredibly helpful discipline because in the after action process, we just inquire about how things went, and when I'm talking with people, we always look at what happened, and the after action process all about what happened. And there are some more formal ways and some less formal ways that I do it. I do the after action process every single day. I do it on my week, and I do it on my month, because I find that it gives me an incredible amount of information. And what's very interesting about the after action process is, first of all, like everything else, you have to develop the capability to do it, because it actually takes us back to the work in week 1, which is tell ourselves the truth about what's happening. Your after action process is a way of you telling yourself the truth of what happened. Okay? Because your after action process always asks, what results did I create? Right? What results did I create? And you look at your results. And then the question is that there are 3 follow-on questions, and they're really quite simple. Okay? The follow-on questions are, what worked? Now, it's incredibly important to ask the question of what worked, because if you don't ask the question of what worked, what you're automatically going to think of is the second question, which is what didn't work. Our brains are wired so that we're always negative first. We always say no first. Okay, whether you're selling lockers, selling coaching, or selling cars, most people will find a reason to say no. And that's just human nature. And for all of those of us who are in sales, which I have to tell you is everybody, whether you're selling yourself on losing the weight for the last time, or you're selling your boss on a raise, or you're selling a book, or you're selling coaching, or you're selling food, you're in sales. You're selling QA systems. Like, I originally, guys, learned the Book Yourself Solid process so I could teach QA professionals how to sell the idea of quality assurance, right? Because it's QA, it's an internal sales job, right? And sales only works. It only works if you look at what happened and you look at your pile of results and you look at what worked, and then you ask yourself what didn't work, and then you ask yourself, what am I going to do differently next time? Okay. And there is a way that I'm doing this in my business right now. Okay. And I will tell you at the end, so I'm a scientist, right? And what's amazing about the after action process is it allows you to hypothesize. So when you ask the question, what am I going to do differently? There are lots of different ways to answer that question. So first thing that I want you to do, and if you're on my email list, I think this was last week in the daily emails, which are also stopping this week. In the daily emails, we had getting ourselves like a whole pile of what worked, okay? And we looked at a whole pile of what worked, right? And hopefully you did that every day, and you found a whole like list of things that worked in your life last week, which is amazing. Do that again this week. And then you look at what didn't work. Okay, when I did this week, the vast majority of things that didn't work was my electronics and my internet connection and all of the, like, when I spontaneously fall off the internet, it's amazing. um, and how much work Andrew and I have tried to do. What are we going to do differently? Like, we do our daily wrap ups, and it's like, okay, what are we going to do differently? Well, we're going to hook your computer up to the modem and not the router, and we're going to call Spectrum again, and we're going to. That's the only way that you know how to do something differently, is if you figure out what worked and what didn't work. And if you have what didn't work, please do something else, because the definition of insanity is, of course, doing the same thing and expecting a different results. So don't do that. Okay. But once you know what you are going to do differently, okay, then you can go about doing it differently. I mean, I hate to state the obvious, but you know, as I was writing this the first time, getting ready to go live, then it wouldn't let me go live, and I had to like re-download Chrome. What you know what my dad used to say, and I was gonna write this to you, but I'm just telling you. What my dad used to say is, everything worth doing is worth doing twice. Once to learn how to do it, and once to do it correctly. All right, I would say everything worth doing is worth doing at least twice, because we're all about failure on the way to success. And that's truly what iterative change is all about. It is about creating failure on the way to success. All right. And what does that look like? It looks like thinking about the big results that you want in your life. I mean, guys, I'm not going to lie. I want to create regional, sustainable economies based on food and agriculture. Like, that's a really big goal. Have I gotten there yet? Nope. Right? Am I getting there? Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's okay to like have big goals, but you got to like narrow those big goals down. Okay. I am not going to get to sustainable regional agriculture by talking about it a lot, right? I'm going to get it by failing forward. And that's how we do iterative change, is we fail forward. And I'm going to talk about failing forward this week in terms of absolutely everything. I have failed my way forward to losing 85 pounds. I have failed my way forward to quitting drinking. I have failed my way forward to running a multi-six-figure profitable business. I've failed my way forward to creating family solvency. I failed my way forward to having 3 kids. It's Mother's Day. I had 3 miscarriages. Okay, my first 2 pregnancies were miscarriages, and I kept getting pregnant because I was failing on my way forward to getting pregnant because I wanted to be a mom, right? And I failed my way forward in my first pregnancy with Zachary. It was a horrifying pregnancy. Horrifying. I was on a sub-Q Zofran pump for 17 weeks. Like, I couldn't stop. I had hyperemesis. It's the sickest anybody has ever seen pregnant. Like, they didn't think I was going to survive. And I failed forward because I didn't give myself any other option. Right? And so if you are a fan of Sean Connery movies and The Hunt for Red October, he has a great line as is it Ramius, Captain Ramius, where Hernando Cortez, when he got to the New World, burned his boats. He found his men very motivated. So the after action process is only as useful, and iterative change is only as useful if you are all in on your goal. And that's any goal, whether it's being a parent, being a homeowner, okay, running a business, whatever it is, like, be all in on it. And that's how you will understand what the iterative change is. Because when people come to me, they always come to me and they say, Dr. P, I want to know how to write a HACCP plan. I want to know how to build a plant. I want to know how to do X, Y, or Z. And I get it. I totally get it. Understanding the how, very important. But you can figure out any how if your mindset is square. I will not fail on creating sustainable regional economies based on local food and agriculture because I will never give up on it. I haven't given up on it, guys. I mean, the amount of debt I have gone into to make my lockers, it's incredible, and it's paying off. I wouldn't change any of it. And there are times where I was like, I really wish I had never invented this thing. Because I did. But, we're going through the patent process and I invented it and we're failing forward. Believe me, we're failing forward on that. Okay. And it's incredibly important for you to understand that the after action process is 100% dependent on what your intention is. Okay. I certainly worked with people who pencil whipped their AARs and it's meaningless. Okay. I did not lose 85 pounds by pencil whipping my after action process on how I ate that day. Didn't happen. That is not what I did. Okay. And when you decide that you're really going to dive into your own self on your after action process, that is where the true change comes, where you own up and you tell yourself the truth about what happened, and then you go out and you fix it. And sometimes the fixes are big and sometimes the fixes are little and sometimes the fixes are super scary. Super scary, and you just decide how all in you are, and you get to recommit to yourself every single day about how all in you are on your dreams. And that's really what we're talking about this week, is your ability to withstand fear and discomfort and failure, to be all in on your dreams. Because, folks, if you are not all in on your dreams, ain't nobody else going to be all in on your dreams. If you don't believe in yourself, nobody's going to believe in you. I kicked all my kids out of the kitchen yesterday because I wanted to do some thinking, and they had Ben made a carrot cake for Molly for her birthday. She's going to be 9 tomorrow, and the kitchen was a wreck. Oh my God. And they were supposed to clean the kitchen before they got electronics and all that sort of stuff. And I was like, I just can't. They're going to like half-ass cleaning it. And I would like to bring my whole ass to this project. So I kicked him out. I turned the music on really loud and I sang along, and my kitchen was beautiful in like 45 minutes. Right. But I was listening to a Kingston Trio song. So I am, my dad was at Stanford in the 50s, and he also went to Pomona. And so he was kind of in that late 50s college scene. And part of that late 50s college scene was the Kingston Trio. And so my brother and I grew up on Kingston Trio songs. And I was listening to a song that has the lyrics, you got to walk that lonesome valley and you got to walk it by yourself. Ain't nobody going to walk it for you. You got to walk it by yourself. And I was thinking about that, and I really think that is the journey that we all go on, right? And if you look at it, the hero's journey, and Shakespeare wrote about it, and Plato wrote about it, like a hero's journey is a big, like the Odyssey. Like an Odyssey is literally a hero's journey. Like that idea permeates our language even. And so I was thinking about it, and I was thinking about it from the perspective of my business. You got to walk that lonesome valley. There are a lot of people who will tell you being a CEO is a pretty lonesome job, and it's fine. Being a captain straight out of vet school, 21 soldiers and 4 installations and millions of dollars, and that was a pretty lonely job. Being a mom, pretty lonely job. Even if you have a partner, it can be a pretty lonely job. I'm sure being a dad can be a pretty lonely job too. And you got to walk it by yourself. And what does it look like if your after action process is the process by which you understand how to get through that valley, right? and that you are walking it with yourself. What does it look like in your after action process about your goals as if you are your very best friend? As if you are creating your goals with your best friend, and that's you, and that you always have your back, and that when you start beating yourself up, you bring yourself back and you say, I gotcha. That's just what we do sometimes. It doesn't have to be like that. Because I think a lot of the reasons people don't do an after action process is because we don't want to tell ourselves the truth. You know, we have a saying, truth hurts. Truth doesn't have to hurt. Love doesn't have to hurt. Love is neutral. Truth is neutral. Other people, neutral. Numbers on a piece of paper, neutral. Your boss, neutral. It's all neutral. The cat behind me, he's scratching the chair, neutral. It's all neutral, my friends. And if you're willing to see the truth and your day as being in the past and being incredibly neutral, you can do absolutely anything that you want to do in your life. And that's really what we're going to do. Okay. And so what it looks like is we're going to, at the end of every broadcast this week, I'm going to talk about what the topic is tomorrow, and if you want to play along with me, what you got to bring to coaching tomorrow. Okay. And so what I want you to do is right now, right after this, for tomorrow, you're going to practice, even if you're not on a weight loss journey, just do it anyway. Okay. You're going to write down everything you're going to eat in the next 24 hours, or if you eat dinner, take it all the way through Monday evening, okay? And eat only that. Give yourself the challenge for the next 24 hours, okay? Write down what you're going to eat beforehand and eat only that tomorrow, okay? And bring that to noontime coaching, or I guess we're at 12:30 tomorrow, okay? Bring that to coaching tomorrow. And then on Tuesday, you're gonna write down what you're drinking and drink only that between now and then. And yes, I realize it's Mother's Day and a lot of us are having brunch. I had an alcohol-free brunch, don't miss it. Okay, as a matter of fact, until I started speaking, this is probably my first alcohol-free Mother's Day ever. No champagne. I usually had Kir Royales. The thought of having a Kir Royale right now, kind of gives me a headache. And so and just decide what you're going to do. Decide what you're going to do for work. All right. And do only that, in whatever time frame. Okay. Decide how much money you're going to bring in this week and bring in that amount of money. Decide how much you're going to spend this week and spend that. Okay. Decide how you're going to be in your relationships with people and be that. All right. And then into the after action process, what we're going to bring is the results that you create. And I promise you, if you do that and you live in protocol this week and we after action, what happened when you lived in protocol, your life will be completely different this time next week. All right. That's what we got. I'm still going to end on time. Sorry for the late start, but I guess I now have Chrome Beta. Woohoo! Looks a lot like Chrome Alpha. I love you all, and I will talk to you tomorrow at 12:30. Mondays are at 12:30 Eastern. Talk later, guys. Bye-bye.